What's up, Glue Dots? I'm Elaine, the Midnight Crafter. Tonight's DIY is a glam DIY, though I'm not dressed particularly glam, but that doesn't matter. I am putting together something that is put together with items that are definitely not what you would use them for. And I love going to Dollar Tree and looking at things and seeing what else I can use them for and what kind of creative, unusual, unique ideas I can come up with to show you guys. So what brought this idea to mind is two amazingly creative women that are on YouTube. One is UW, and I will link her channel below, and the other is Miranda of Creative Living. So they are both amazing, and again, their ideas helped me to come up with this idea. So I hope you like it, and I hope that you'll stick with me by hitting the subscribe button and become part of the Glue Dot family, and the bell next to it. If you hit that, it will let you know every time I upload a new video. If you will, give me the thumbs up if you like my video, and the thumbs down if you don't. But better yet, share the video if you do like it. Help the channel to grow so I can continue to show you my goofiness and my crazy ideas. With that all being said, let's get to it. So the very first thing we're going to be doing is cutting the bowls off of all of our ladles using the hot knife. Now this hot knife is the Walnut Hollow hot knife. I have a link to it below. You can get it at Michael's or you can order it on Amazon, and I will put the link for Amazon. If you go to Michael's, you can use your 40% off coupon or whatever you got. So what we're going to be doing here is cutting off the bowl just at where we want this piece to have a straight edge. So where it starts to curve is where we're going to be cutting off. And using the hot knife, you want to use it with this part, the closest into the plastic, because it's closest to here and it gets hot. If you're using the tip, it's a lot harder and it will take longer. So the closer you are to this, the hotter the blade. So we're starting in, and I'm going to just take it right about there, and once I've got it placed, I'm moving closer to the hot part of the blade and just applying, whoops, a little too close, I was watching the camera, applying nice even pressure. I'm putting it down here so that I have a little more control when it falls off, and then slowly it will just cut all the way through. This tool is just such a great tool to have, and I highly, highly recommend it. I had seen other crafters use it and I avoided it for a really long time, but I really love it. I finally broke down and got one, and I really, really love it. We're gonna do that to all of our 11 ladles, and we're gonna set these bowls aside for maybe a future project, because I'm sure I'll come up with something use for this. Kind of looks like a bra cup. Anyway, I'm not gonna make bras out of it, but I will come up with a project for us. The next step we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be gluing all of our ladle handles to this vase all the way around, and you're gonna butt the pieces up right next to each other. So I will show you how to glue these on, but when you put the second one on, it will be butted up immediately next to the first piece, and we'll be using the E6000 as well as the hot glue to hold it. The hot glue gives more of an immediate hold, where the E6000 is going to give more of a permanent hold. So I suggest, just for the sake of making things go more quickly, that you first put your E6000, now you're putting your E6000 not on the side that has the hole, but on the other side, and you're doing it on the back side of it, so that when it's up against your vase, the curve is away from your vase. So you're going to be putting glue on this side, and again we're going to be putting, I'm just going to do one to show you, but then what I would suggest doing, just for the sake of speed, is putting E6000 on each of your ladle handles, then going in with the hot glue and placing them around your vase. So I've got my strip of E6000 Went in with a strip of the hot glue, going right up against the other piece, and I would put it down on the table to make sure that it's flush, because you do want to make sure they're placed nicely and flush, and not only next to each other, but that they're not sticking up off the table either. So that's 2 of our pieces glued together. Okay, I'm going to get the rest of them glued on and show you what comes next. Once you have them all glued on, here's what the top looks like. They should all be butted up right next to each other, and if you do that, you should get exactly, with a tight fit, they should all be able to fit around there. And this is what the rest of it will look like. Okay, after that, we're going to be gluing our candlestick directly to the top of this. Again, I suggest, and I don't know if I suggested it earlier, but anytime I am gluing glass pieces together, I do like to clean them off with alcohol just to make sure that the surfaces are free of any oils, because we've been handling them, and that way it will give the best adhesion. So any parts that are going to be glued together, we're going to be adding a piece up here in a minute. And we're going to also be using hot glue and the E6000 to glue these 2 pieces together. I'm putting the E6000 on every other section, and then I'll be putting the hot glue on the sections in between. And I'm also using Gorilla hot glue sticks because I just feel, I've tried other ones, and I really do feel like these give a much better hold. So it's worth the extra money if you take the time on your crafts. Okay, centering that on the top of the vase. Go ahead and press it down. Then we'll be gluing our tea light holder to the top of the candlestick. And again, I'm going every other one, and I'm going to use my hot glue in between the 6000. The reason I'm putting this tea light holder on here is because I want to make this a dual use project. So I want to make it so that it can be hung and have the crystals dangling from here, or if you choose to be able to also use it upright so it has enough of a base that, wow, it looks like I didn't pick a very even tea light because this is a wiggly one. So check your tea light before you attach it to make sure it's flat. But anyway, so to also be able to stand it up this way, maybe put flowers in it, also hanging the crystals off of here, it will be beautiful either way. And this way it's a dual purpose piece. The next step we're going to be doing is gluing on the diamond wrap. And the reason we're putting the diamond wrap around is to cover up some of this ugly glue here that's showing. So you can use the diamond wrap rolls that you can purchase at Dollar Tree, or if you have some already, I purchased this on Amazon. I can also leave a link for this. I'm choosing to put a thick band on there. You can go as thin or as thick as you want. So it looks like I'm actually going to be doing about 6 rows of this diamond wrap, or 5, depending. You can purchase it with 3 rows or with 5 rows from the Dollar Tree. I don't know why I picked 6, it just sounded good to me. So I'm going to cut my 6 rows, and then we'll be gluing that around the vase to cover up the glue. So the bling wrap is glued all the way around. I think it's looking beautiful so far. I think I'm actually going to put 1 row of bling wrap around this edge of the inside glass that we have. You can do more rows if you prefer, or you don't have to put it on at all if it's not something that you want to put on. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to put the crystals hanging down from these edges. So from the hole to the edge, that split ring fits in there perfectly. So we're going to go around and put a crystal into each one of the holes, and then we'll be just about finished. This does take a little bit of finagling, so Don't get frustrated or discouraged. It really does fit in there. It just does take a little of a little finesse. Once you get that top part hooked, just move the crystal down and work on twisting, spinning the little ring around until the other side of it actually makes it through as well. Okay, so I've tried other things and they didn't work. You can see some residual, maybe glue already in there from some other things that I tried. So I'm going to be using this epoxy resin because I really feel like it's going to be the best option to hold our necklace piece in there, which is going to be our chain. Don't be afraid of this stuff. It is really awesome. I'm going to show you exactly how to mix it. They make it super easy. And I have a piece here of plastic that I've just cut off of another container. You're going to push down on these plungers to get an even amount from both sides. Now you might have to push a little harder on one side than the other. And then press them so that you get even amounts of product coming out from each side. I'm going to do a pretty good amount because I'm hoping that this will really hold in that chain. I've tried a couple other things and I was really having a hard time getting them to stay. So we're going to use the epoxy and give that a shot. Stir it up real well. And it will be a little bit cloudy initially. I don't know if you can see that. As you mix, it gets cloudy and then it will turn clear again. So just make sure it's thoroughly mixed. That's the key to this. Even amounts and thoroughly mixed. And you have, I mean, you have some working time. You don't have a lot of working time, but you do have some working time. So don't be too concerned because you know, it's not like it dries in seconds. You have a few minutes. Okay, so now that I've got this pretty thoroughly mixed together, which is a really key part of using epoxy, I'm going to scrape it off here and put it directly into my holder, my tea light holder. This is some pretty strong stuff, so it will hold this really well. I'm gonna hold on to my craft stick here, and what I'm going to be doing is taking the necklace, and at the point where it came from the company glued together, right about there is where you want to cut it. And then what you're going to do is put the ends from opposing sides into the epoxy and kind of swirl them around each other so that they'll hold. And this is why I said you may want to hold on to your craft stick a little bit so that you can push things down into it. You're going to want eventually for your two ends to be on opposite sides from each other so that your lamp will hang evenly and not crooked, because if they're both coming from the same side, obviously it's gonna be crooked. And I'm gonna be taping those down just for the next few minutes until that does finally cure. And we should be able, after it is completely cured, to hang it or to be able to stand it up. So be back in a bit. Guess what, guys? The epoxy resin was the one that did the trick. The E6000 combo with the hot glue, fail. Totally did not work. It was looking like it was gonna work, and then when I tried to put any weight on this at all, it just peeled right out of there as a whole. I wanna show you how this epoxy resin dried in here, and it's really nice and hard, and the beads are not going anywhere. So I'm gonna zoom out here so you can see. And definitely this epoxy is enough to hold the weight of our chandelier. So the other thing here that I want to show you, and the reason I did it this way, if you want to use your chandelier in the other way, in order to stand it up and use it as a vase. I'm just going to simply tuck all those beads in there, take a piece of tape, put it across there just to hold them, make it easier on you, and then simply flip it over. All the beads then hide out really nicely under there. Also, you can see them a little through the glass, but there you go, and you have the ability to use this now for a candle inside or for flowers, and it is stunning. So 2-in-1 on this DIY, which to me is definitely a thumbs up. Yes, I don't know which way thumbs up is on my camera for you guys, but to me this is a thumbs up. So let me show you it all prettied up.